Ahoy! Do I wear the hat all throughout the review? Am I feeling that committal? It's not even an official Titanic hat. This is a Scoops Ahoy Stranger Things hat. You know, my heart will go on for new musicals. I absolutely love taking chances on them. So I was very excited for Titanic to come over here. I had heard so much about Titanic from its run off Broadway, and how absolutely wild it was. And I don't think I was truly prepared for the absolutely chaotic experience I saw at the Criterion Theatre. And oh my god, I loved every single second of it. Who would have thought I need to see a parody musical about Titanic led by Celine Dion? But that is what I have now seen, and I could never see Titanic another way again. So why did I love Titanic? What made this musical work for me? Let's find out. But if you haven't seen my face before, hi, I'm Ellie. I talk about theatre. I am the most chaotic theatre person on the internet. I do reviews, I do discussions, I do versus brackets and rankings, and if any of that sounds interesting to you, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me, it helps out the channel. But let's dive into Titanic, not Titanic, Titanic. To show you exactly what Titanic is, all I need to do is tell you the plot synopsis. As a tour guide is taking a bunch of people around the Titanic Museum, they suddenly find themselves with a special guest, Miss Celine Dion. Yes, Celine Dion herself, arriving in this museum to set the record straight. Not only did she perform the iconic song My Heart Will Go On for the film, she was also actually on the Titanic, and she remembers it a little bit differently. So this musical sees Celine Dion launch it into this absolutely wild parody with loads of Celine Dion music baked in, thanks to it being led by Celine Dion herself. If that sounds absolutely bonkers, that's because that's exactly what Titanic is. It does not take itself seriously. It is wild. It is full of pop culture references. And my god, it's absolutely hilarious. As Celine Dion embeds herself into the story of Titanic, following more so the plot of the James Cameron film than the actual historical event, showing where she was as Jack and Rose fall in love. And I think the thing about Titanic that just makes it work is it doesn't shy away from its goofiness. It doesn't shy away from the ridiculousness of its concept, and it lets you know exactly what it is from the very first second it starts. As you see Celine Dion covered in trash with a giant cloak on herself, shuffling up from the side of stools up onto the stage and revealing herself as Celine Dion. You know exactly what you're in for. And I love how it brings you into that. I love how it becomes more and more unhinged the further you get into it, taking all of these iconic moments from the film and playing them for bundles and bundles of laughs. Every single moment that you want to be riffed on and played on from Titanic is here, taking the 3-hour runtime of the film and shortening it down to about 90 minutes. It makes fun of the classic paint me like one of your French girl moments. It shows you them hanging onto the door in the middle of the sea. It plays with a necklace, now in this production it being bought from Claire's Accessories. And it exaggerates all of these characters to the nth degree. It is absolutely hilarious in everything it does. But I think the presence of Celine Dion and the way that she inserts herself as a narrator actually does make this have some kind of through line. Weirdly, I hate to use the word grounds itself because it's not grounded in the least bit, but it gives it that through line to show why it's becoming so wild and exaggerated. Celine as this unreliable narrator is fantastic, and there's so much fun she has just inserting herself to all of these moments throughout the Titanic. As Lauren Drew as Celine just waltzes across the stage, shoving herself in, laughing to herself, with every single Celine Dion mannerism you can think of. She's there at the party, she's there at the buffets, She's there while they're, doing very special things in a car, which in this production is made up of a Fisher-Price car, which is one of the funniest visual gags in the entire show. It was hilarious. And there's so much variety in this type of comedy they do. Obviously, there's visual gags like that. There's the fact that the necklace is, like, absolutely huge. There's a lot of Britishisms that they've baked into it now, bringing it over here. There's references to EastEnders. Obviously, the diamond necklace I've mentioned, they've changed it to be from Claire's accessories. There's even some nods to the actors in the show. There's a Strictly Come Dancing reference that's made for Leighton Williams. And there's so much for every single homosexual in that audience. This is so extremely camp. And it's so extremely gay. As a huge moment in the second act culminates in this absolutely giant lip sync for your life. As well as all that variety in the type of jokes, they also embed a lot of really cool improv into there. There's a section in the musical that changes every single night. And the night that I went, the improv became Wicked themed. And because obviously this changes every night, I feel quite open to telling you exactly what they did to show you the type of vibe of this show and the type of comedy it can deliver, as the actors playing Jack and Rose are tasked to lip sync along to whatever the actress playing Celine Dion is saying, which changes every single night. Lauren Drew at this performance decided to make it Wicked themed, making Rob Houchen as Jack do a double pirouette and then saying, actually no, I think he should be doing a triple pirouette, much to the slight glances and anger from Houchen coming through in the performance, and making Kat Ronnie as Rose do the iconic Cynthia Erivo defying gravity belt, or I guess war chant. it's more like, which she did in one go. It was phenomenal. And even though you can tell it's improv and the lip sync isn't perfect, obviously, they do a really good job at reading each other and kind of telling as a trio what's coming up, leading to a lip sync that actually does work quite well. And a really fun moment for these actors to kind of bounce off each other and tease each other. It really warms you to these performers and also gives this musical such a unique rewatchability. I could go back to Titanic and obviously I've got all of the stuff there that I love every single time. The Titanic parody bits, all of the funny pop culture references, but I've also got that to look forward to. Them playing around and changing it every single night. And these actors are given so much free reign to play with a lot of this material, to mess around. And they do such a fantastic job. I can't wait to get to the further in this review when I'm going to speak about this cast, because every single person is fantastic. I think you have to be so genius to be this dumb. And Titanic is absolutely baffling. It's crazy. It does not hold itself back. It plays and it plays and it plays, but it builds this up throughout the show, really gets you on board, takes all of these iconic moments and flips them completely on its head. And something else that really warms you to this musical is the way it embeds the music of Celine Dion into this musical. Celine Dion has such an incredible career and such an incredible back catalogue of not just hits that she's performed, but also covers. And this show even makes some really deep cuts into numbers that Celine Dion has performed. Now, obviously, jukebox musicals can often find themselves with a weird tonal disconnect. Sometimes when you're launching yourself into a number that comes kind of out of left field, it can often feel quite comedic. This happens a lot with jukebox musicals, and Juliet and Moulin Rouge sometimes struggle with this when, you're trying to take yourself seriously and then they're launching into a pop song that you know. It can often lead to the wrong effect, but that's exactly what Titanic wants, and it achieves it. But weirdly, in a way, a lot of these numbers fit in a lot better than you would expect. Obviously, there is the iconic My Heart Will Go On, the song that is naturally associated with Titanic, but there's also numbers like All By Myself, Taking Chances. It even throws Beauty and the Beast in there and River Deep Mountain High. The range of songs you get is so good. And honestly, they do a really good job at weaving these into the book of the show. A lot of these coming at perfect moments and really actually relating to the plot line of the show itself, which honestly, I was not expecting the Titanic parody musical to do well. Obviously, I can talk about some of the examples I mentioned there. All By Myself comes when they're all leaving the boat, performed by the unsinkable Molly Brown by herself. Taking Chances is a wonderful introduction to the boat, and acts as our first glance of a lot of these really iconic people from the film. River Deep Mountain High is just absolutely wild and camp, as you want with a number that's so uplifting and raucous as that. It leads into this absolutely epic number, performed by Leighton Williams phenomenally. I Drove All Night is performed by the captain of the ship, and even gets a reprise that becomes even camper, complete with proper fanography. And there's so many more fantastic numbers in the show, all phenomenally performed by this cast. I don't think Celine Dion fans will be disappointed by the selection of songs in this musical. It even shoves in some real deep cuts, including Who Let the Dogs Out, which, yes, Celine Dion did actually sing. I think when you have creatives who love Celine Dion like that, who can pull out references and deep cuts like that, you kind of know you're in safe hands here. And everything about this music, about this book, screams that these creatives absolutely adore Celine, absolutely adore Titanic. And they blend the two together so successfully, leading to this hilarious but deeply charming musical. Speaking about some of the design of this show, I love a lot of it. There's some really funny props and visual gags used. Obviously, I mentioned the car where Jack and Rose get down and dirty being literally just two halves of a Fisher-Price car. That is genius. The size of the actual diamond necklace, a small detail and an upsizing leading to an absolutely hilarious effect. There's an extra detail that I'm not going to spoil about the door that Rose and Jack hang on to, which is utterly genius and absolutely caught me off guard. I was not expecting it and I died laughing. And then, of course, there's the set as well, which the musical itself describes as Titanic on the set of Anything Goes. But, you know, I'd add on to that and say it's Titanic on the set of Anything Goes, but make it gay. This musical plays a lot with its audience and actually does this quite effectively with the thrust into the audience. This extra boat pattern that turns the stage and the front of the stage into the front of the boat, allowing, especially if you're towards the front like I was, to feel right a part of the action. And obviously the boat walls along the back being lit up in a variety of colours. One of my favourites being the rainbow, because obviously a little bit of that. And actually it takes very well to the Criterion stage, giving you enough levels for these actors to play around with. And then there's a lot of the costumes which feel like they're taking the film and camping it up to 11. Of course, there's a classic Celine Dion silhouette perfectly recreated, giving us iconic gold gown, immediately recognizable as Miss Celine Dion herself. Jack and Rose are very faithful to their looks from the film, but then they also play around with a lot of them. Jack's friend Luigi becomes Luigi from the Super Mario Brothers. We get an absolutely iconic outfit for the iceberg, which I'm not going to spoil what it's a reference to, because you absolutely need to see it and have that moment for yourself. But let's just say it is dragged up to 11 and it is iconic. And one of the funniest details is Ruth's outfit. Rose's mother with these two seagulls just attached to her head. All of this design work adds so much to the comedy and the staging of this show, allowing this musical to have no stone unturned when it comes to the comedy it's presenting. But I think what really makes Titanic click is the cast. This cast are phenomenal, and they understand the assignment of this show completely. Lauren Drew as Celine Dion is incredible, fantastic, and does not shy away from just camping up every single element of Celine to 100. She plays with the mannerisms, she has the little laughs. I was on the side of like the second row in the stalls, so a lot of the time I was seeing as Lauren Drew was leaving the stage, and every single time she would exit, she'd be making eye contact with people on the front row. She'd be laughing along. She'd be joking. She'd be doing little Celine Dionisms. The commitment to the exaggeration of everything that makes Celine Dion such an icon is embedded into Drew's portrayal. The voice is hilarious from the very first second you hear her speak. They play so much with her star status. And as a narrator, she works so well. You're immediately on her side. She's so warm. She's so endearing. She's such a presence and a status on the stage. And all of that is just portrayal. Obviously, you could say so much about the portrayal, but you also got to speak about the vocals Lauren Drew is constantly providing. She performs her heart out in all of these numbers. She is the lifeblood of this show. She is so good in this role. And she blends into Celine so much that, yes, I know who Lauren Drew is. I know exactly who Lauren Drew is. I've seen her in so many shows before. And then when she started speaking at the end in her natural Welsh accent, I forgot for a second that she was Lauren Drew. She blends herself into Celine perfectly. What a portrayal. Rob Houchen as Jack and Kat Ronnie as Rose. Fantastic. Obviously, I have to commend these two for the improv section first of all. The ability to lip sync along to things that are being made up in the second is really impressive. And I love the commitment that they take in this moment, going along with whatever is thrown at them. And honestly, these two are having so much fun on that stage, as well as actually building a very natural and believable chemistry together. Houchen is not a performer that I've really associated with comedy much. Obviously, he's been a huge West End leading man for a very long time, but he absolutely kills with it. One of my favorite moments of physical comedy from Houchen being the door scene when they're out in the middle of the ocean, as he's literally clinging onto the side of the boat, shivering and shuddering and making it so loud and camp. It's so funny. And the way he kind of like edges himself along the boat, it's fantastic physical comedy. And Ronnie is just as strong too. She is hilarious. Her reactions to everything, oh my god, she's so good. And then there's Jordan Luke Gage as Cal. Wild portrayal. A lot of the comedy about Cal in this show comes from them hinting that he may be a little bit fruity in the booty, some may say. You know, he may be batting for the other team. He may be a little bit... And Gage plays with that phenomenally. His reaction to when he gives over his phone and the grinder sound plays, like the shock and horror on his face. And he camps up this villainous role wonderfully, playing him like the spoiled brat this character always is. Charlotte Wakefield as Molly Brown is probably the most grounded character in this show, which is weird to say, because none of them are grounded. Despite, you know, her mother literally being on the ship, Wakefield's Molly Brown provides a motherly figure to Kat Ronnie's Rose, teaching her things Ruth would never teach her, like certain fun things you can do with eggplants. And honestly, the thing I really want to highlight about Wakefield is her performance of All By Myself. Oh my god, literal goosebumps. I didn't think the Titanic parody musical would give me literal goosebumps, but Charlotte Wakefield did that. Stephen Garino plays Ruth, and oh my god, this portrayal is wild. Ruth's bluntness and harshness is played for so many wonderful comedic moments. And a lot of this comes from how sharp Stephen is at delivering these punchy lines. There is like a 6-minute like tantrum sequence that Ruth gets, which you see Stephen Garino just taking every single second out of, like the diva he is, rolling across the floor, throwing away sheet music and delivering one of the funniest lines of the entire piece as he throws that sheet music into the air and just declares, "Learn it! We had to!" Genius. One of the funniest performances in the entire show. And that's saying a lot when everyone in this show had me dying. Leighton Williams is given variety in this show. Williams gets to play the tour guide at the museum, gets to play the seaman, which yes, they make those jokes, because that's exactly what type of show this is. It's for the gays. And even getting to play with a little bit of drag here and then. Leighton morphs into these characters wonderfully. And vocally is one of the most impressive in this show. The performance of River Deep Mountain High gets more and more iconic as it goes on. Oh my God. I will never forget it. Williams is absolutely in his element through this show. Phenomenal work. And finally, there's Darren Bennett, who plays Victor Garber. Yet not the character from the film, the actual actor from Titanic. It's just Victor Garber, as well as multi-rolling as Luigi. There's actually quite a grounded moment for this character. It's quite nice to see, you know, like the arrogance of him. And then when that twists a little bit later, as he decides to sacrifice himself so other people can escape in the lifeboats. Which, yes, has a lot of campness to that moment, but actually does deliver quite a beautiful character moment. Still kept from the original film. Bennett is absolutely in his element as he's performing songs like I Drove All Night, which gets camper and camper with each reprise. And also delivers a scarily good Luigi impression. I'm very impressed. Honestly, what a cast. What a cast. Absolutely committed to the bit. Making this material that's already so funny on its own even better. Titanic is wild. It is chaotic. It is bonkers. And I absolutely love it. It absolutely delivers on what it needs to be. An out-of-the-box jukebox musical packing in hilarious parody of the original Titanic film, along with centering it all on Celine Dion and her iconic discography. I feel like Titanic has three main audiences, and if you fit into one of these, you're going to absolutely love it. If you love Titanic, it's so playful with that source material. It clearly has such a love for it and makes fun of it in really great ways. If you love Celine Dion, you've got her front and center throughout the entire musical with a fantastic portrayal from Lauren Drew, alongside all of the iconic hits you know and love. And if you're gay, oh my God, you are absolutely going to love this because it's the campest thing you have ever seen. I would highly recommend Titanic. It is wild. It's silly. I loved every single second and it absolutely gave me life. Boats. But what do you think? Have you seen Titanic in London or in New York or anywhere else it's sailed onto? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me, it helps out the channel. Here's some links to some other videos on screen right now and a link to my Instagram. You'd like to jump me a follow over there. I also have other social links and a merch store in the description down below. But that's it for me today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!